people to blank off. That is not what Goody did when apparently, per Adam Schefter, Drew Rosenhaus and his client, Jayden Reed, wanted clarification on Jayden Reed's role in the aftermath of 2 wide receivers being selected by the Green Bay Packers. I want to read this in its entirety, not my entire story from channel3000.com. We'll get to that in a second. But here is how Adam Schefter phrased this post. Packers GM Brian Gutekunst met last week with Jayden Reed's agent Drew Rosenhaus to clarify the wide receiver status in Green Bay after the team drafted Matthew Golden and Savion Williams. The team said it will not affect Reed's status as its top receiver per source. Tausch, your thoughts?
I don't like anything about this whole deal. So it's one thing if you are an established player and you have these conversations. But Jayden Reed, by his own account, had a disappointing season last year. Like, the NFL isn't, there are no gimmies in this business. You earn everything you get. You haven't earned jack yet.
Led them in receiving.
That's great.
Both receptions and yards.
That's
each
great.
Of the first 2 seasons.
So do it again. You can be irritated. Use that as fuel. Now, if you want to have those conversations, and maybe I think I don't have a problem, keep this behind closed doors. I have no problem with you going up there and saying, hey, what does this mean, whatever it might be. But if you're a third-year player, you haven't done anything. Like, yeah, it's great that you led the team. Do it again. Do it better. Don't have the drops. So this receiving room, you saw it last year. And this is the risk you take when you go young and you don't have an established starter, an established guy to lead. You don't have Donald Driver leading Jordy and Greg Jennings, and then Jordy leading Randall Cobb and Devontae, and then Devontae leading. It's an important piece to this because that position is different. I said all last offseason it was just the most fascinating part of the storyline because you don't see this very often. You have a bunch of guys jockeying to be the guy and to say, well, don't worry about it, just work it out and it'll, everybody's going to be a star. Well, that's just not how it goes. A la Friends. Eventually, Jennifer Aniston has a pretty good run. So somebody has to emerge, and it's not going to be the guy that, I don't like my reps, I'm going home. That was such a big red flag, and I think it's, I'm sure Romeo Doubs is not happy. Jayden Reed's not happy. You know what? Good. Jocko it. Good. Do something about it. You want to keep the number 1 spot and they had drafted a first-round wideout? Go get it. Go do it. Having 33 drops is the reason that they drafted these guys. You don't think if Jayden Reed and Wicks had 85, 90 catches a guy and we're like, oh, my God, are we set? You think they draft 2 wideouts in the first 3 rounds? No. It happens because of what we saw on the field. They haven't given up on you, but you aren't owed jack. This league doesn't owe you nothing. And until you figure that part of it out, you're going to be sorely disappointed. So I understand the personal feelings. You feel for a second like, what does this mean? But immediately then you use this as fuel. You say, oh, you don't think I'm a guy? You don't think I'm the guy? Mm-hmm. Well, let's see this. I ain't dropping them all. I'm going to do an hour of jugs after the practice is over. I ain't letting that happen. I'm not going to be an afterthought the last half of the season. So if that's what he does and uses this as that fuel, great. I don't mind guys getting upset and get up in their feelings. That's life. What are you going to do about it? And if you're going to pout and be a baby, I don't want you on my team. Now, if you're going to say, all right then, I want you. I want to see that happen. I want Jayden Reed to push, and I want him to take over and be the leader of this group. It seems as if Christian Watson has done that. Now, unfortunately, now he's hurt. But at some point, you have to look at this and say, well, I need to be better. And if you don't have that attitude, I'm sorry, it ain't going to happen for you.
So just to kind of recap, we've got the uncertainty of the Jair Alexander situation, which, by the way, I asked Jeff Hafley about him, and Jeff Hafley punted on the question. I said, I still have to ask, and he said, I respect the question. I hope you respect my position on not being able to answer.
It's a lot of respect.
That's a lot of respect. But, again, if we were feeling encouraged and hopeful that that was going to get worked out, isn't there a path of, hey, look, they're still working things out. I just know this. He's a really good football player. We're better when he's healthy and part of our team. Hopefully that works out for us. But he did not want to go there. We've got the Elton Jenkins piece where he doesn't have a problem moving to center. Steno said that. I have been told
guaranteed
that.
Bread. Yep.
He's got 2 years left on his deal with pretty high cap numbers, and he's in a position where he, I would think, would like some security of some guaranteed money. Which, again, if your general manager comes out and says, we think he can be an all-pro center, then and that he doesn't want 30-year-old players generally on the team, and you're going to turn 30 the day after Christmas, I don't blame Elton for wanting some measure of security.
Just so we're on the same page, we're not equating Elton's situation at all with Jayden Reed's or Romeo Doubs.
No.
Okay, but just wanted to confirm.
No,
okay.
He's got the pelts on the wall, as Mike McCarthy would say. Romeo Doubs, I don't know if he's there or not. We did not ask about his presence. Again, when Matt Schneidman of The Athletic went through 154 photos posted by Evan Siegel at the start of the offseason program, Romeo was not in them.
Uh-oh. Was Jayden?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
And Jayden Reed is there.
Was he happy about his role in the photos?
He didn't like the lighting on one, I would believe. Thought that Golden got a little more shine than he did.
What is this? Is this, because I would not have expected this. Is this the era we live in?
Jason, welcome to the NFL when guys are jockeying for stuff. Guys are going to be unhappy.
Well, isn't this telling us that the Friends approach, the ensemble, is just, it's not working? One is injured and two others have been or are unhappy with their pecking order location.
Here's the problem, Jason. Friends as a cast, they didn't shrink. Their numbers didn't go down. They went up. Had that show dropped off, none of them are getting paid. The problem is we got Gunter, and I don't know the other bit characters. Who besides Gunter? Who else is there on that show?
Been a minute.
What's the gal's name that was with Chandler all the time? The goofy voice.
Janice.
You got Janice's and Gunters thinking they're Jennifer Aniston. Hey, you ain't. You're not going to get in that same level as this cast. So right now, the ensemble cast is none of the actual cast. You have Gunter and you have Janice and I don't know the other characters either. You had the old dude that was living above him. I can't remember his name. That's where we're at. We don't
like the guy at Jesse's Verbo.
We maybe have a Tribbiani sister or two. Like we don't have. There are no stars in this cast right now. Tucker Kraft would be the closest thing to a Joey Tribbiani. Okay, and then you got Josh Jacobs. He'd be Ross. Tell me a wideout that makes that cast as we sit here right now. Jayden Reed would be the closest thing, and he's probably Gunter. Mm-hmm. And not Ladarius, covering Julio.
Down by the schoolyard. All right, we're way behind. We need to try and get caught up. I want to understand, if there is a downside.
Facts over feelings right now is what this is.
Okay, but there's another component to this.
What is
it
it?
involves the right tackle position.
Ooh. Something juicy?
We'll talk about that after Tausch tells us about Coors Light.
Coors Light, brewed with a 3-step cold process, cold lager, co-filtered, and it is cold packaged, so it's made to chill in those mountains. On Coors Light's cold activated bottles and cans, they are blue. That's when you know it is chilled to perfection. That's why it is Coors Light in my hand when I need a moment to chill. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company out Golden, Colorado.
More Wilde and Tausch straight ahead. Stick around.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN.